What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of Jobu's Day Job. Man, whew, this place has been a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work. I want to answer a question. People are beginning to notice the work that's going on. Technically, if you look out from the front of the house, the front hasn't really changed much. I mean, it's still the same windows and things. Majority of the work is all happening inside of the space and up under the house, so to speak. Although now that I started framing up the deck off the kitchen, people are beginning to kind of notice, because you're seeing stuff happen more on the outside. And when we ended up taking the siding off and resheathing and framing up, people have noticed that too. So when I go over to the hardware store, they say, "Oh, I noticed stuff's going on." Or even there was a lady at Walmart when I went in there yesterday. She's like, "Boy, you look like you've really been through hell." I was like, "Yeah, working on the house across the street from them, because I go to Walmart to go to the bathroom and then I buy something from them." And she said that she didn't want to see this house torn down, and she's excited that somebody has it and is fixing it. She said that she actually was trying to talk to the governor about saving it. And the people like the Lynn family, or descendants of the Arnolds, that when they've come by and they're ecstatic that the place is not torn down, makes them happy. I had a person comment on here that actually asked, they said, "Well, what are your plans with the house? Are you going to make it a rental property? Are you going to, can you back up the history?" Well, I tell you what you do. If you want to know, that, don't take my word for it. You don't have to take my word for it. Google Red Brick House, Waynesboro. You can get all the history on it. You'll find out that it was built in 1820 as a schoolhouse, that it was the Lee Lodge, that I don't know if they have the Confederate Hospital part on there on all the things, but we've learned a lot of the history through the course of time. So back to the Red Brick House here. I never knew anything about the red brick house until I met Ian when I was part of Grow Waynesboro, where they were helping small businesses with grant money, and you had to make a presentation to the city about that. Everybody said I had a great presentation because my presentation was about restoring old homes and making great homes for people. We have actually quite a few rental properties, some of which started out as bad as this place was. Typically, I was buying houses that nobody else wanted, that literally sat vacant forever, and that's what I could afford to buy. And as we're doing with this house, we gut it out, we redo the plumbing, the electrical, we bring in all new utilities, we make it energy efficient, and we make it a nice place. And we have these affordable houses because we always believe that everybody should have a nice place to stay. This place was different. This place was a piece of history that was going to be destroyed by the city because they just didn't see the value of it anymore and didn't want to put the resources into trying to fix it and restore it. And then there was the Red Brick House Committee, which was some great people with great intentions, but unfortunately didn't have the skill to be able to do this. Well, when Ian brought me here, I immediately fell in love with it. There's something about old houses that I love, and it's usually the staircase. If you find a house that's got a great staircase that's still not creaking, chances are you got a good house. You got good bones, as they have as a show on TV now. So getting this presented all kinds of problems because this is not actually residential, or at least it wasn't when I first got it. It was zoned highway commercial, which means you have to be able to provide 4 parking spaces for every 400 square foot, which means you need to have 5 parking spaces, and there's not space here on the property to be able to do that because they would have to be able to pull in, park, turn around, and re-enter the highway. Well, there's no highway here. So we spent 6 years of the time trying to get the zoning changed because I just wanted to save it. I just said it's a shame to lose pieces of our history. We are so quick now to just say the hell with something and move on. And I didn't want to see this happen to this place. So finally, we got the zoning changed to local business. It could be a residence, it could be a business, it could be both. We're not going to make it a rental property. Reason being is this is too valuable to have somebody possibly tear up. But it will actually help as far as housing in the area. Because I come here because, like I said, I have multiple houses here that are rental properties. I have a few lots that we can build on. And there is a lack of housing here, truly a lack of housing, especially housing that's good housing that is affordable for people because everybody deserves to have a great house. And what this will become is this will be our office and our headquarters for when we're here renovating homes to try and make good homes for people. That's the second part of it. We're saving the house. We are trying to give back by making affordable, good houses for people. Again, there's a need. Third thing is, I want this to be a place that people who are tied to it, and maybe not even necessarily tied to it, people that are actually interested in history. There's so much history that's literally right around us. There's a historic museum house that's right over there. There's another historic house that's, I think, about 15 years older on Rosser Avenue. There's a house that's down on Riverside that when the Battle of Waynesboro happened, the Union was on the other side of the river and they shot a cannonball that stuck into the house, and that cannonball was in that house for many, many years. Somebody has since pulled it out. But there's so much history that is right around us that I wanted to save this. And I can envision, because there's all kinds of festivals that happen the Apple Festival and the Fall Festival and the River Festival and all that stuff. That all happens right here downtown. My buddy Jet, he is a master barbecuer. He's got a barbecue trailer and he does briskets. He caters for people and stuff. And with this being a historic house, I plan on having like open houses where we got some barbecue, we got some Jobu wings, and people can go through and see this piece of history. See, for me, restoring and saving. There's the purists out there that say that you got to make sure everything is exactly the way it was originally. Well, some of that's not possible because some of the materials aren't available. But what we have tried to do, this is the oldest part of the house. This is the red brick part of it. This was the schoolroom and all of that. The only thing that will change in here from what it was before is we no longer have plaster on the walls, on the ceiling. We took the plaster off and we're leaving these beams that were handmade or hand cut 200 years ago. We're leaving those. We're leaving the original wiring that was here because that, of course, was part of the history. You got electricity, so now, boom, that's here. The windows, I've actually gone through, and when you look at these sashes, this is the original sash that was here. This is one that I had to make to match. There's still window weights that are in this window. And they're not energy efficient. Now we'll be able to put felt around them. That'll help make them a little bit better. But I don't want to lose that. That's a key. So these windows are all the windows from when I got this place. The walls are plastered over the brick. Lime plaster. We're plastering back over it and we're doing a lime wash. The floors that are in here that were covered up from layer upon layer of linoleum and carpet and stuff are going to be sanded out because that's the original floor to the place. And so when you look, the fixtures, yeah, we know they didn't have ceiling fans back in 1820, but we're trying to get an old feel. For example, I don't know if you can tell it or not, but the glass on these have bubbles in them, which is typical of what happened when you had old glass that was made in England and brought over on the ships. It had bubbles in it. And so I like to talk. I love learning about all the history that's part of this place. And I can envision having people over, having a cup of coffee, having some wings, having conversations, and this being a great place to just meet up. And when the festival's going on, I can imagine my buddy Jed over here barbecuing and having people come by, getting some barbecue, and seeing a piece of our history. And the key word there that I'm going to say is our history. People want to change history or sugarcoat history or ignore history. And the reality is our history is what makes us who we are. And if you don't learn from the mistakes that were made in the past, you will make them again. More than likely, my ancestors probably built this as slaves. And now, a descendant of slaves now owns it. All of that, every bit, is our history. And we shouldn't forget that. And that, my friends, is my plans here for the Red Brick House. And I hope that you guys will have a chance to be part of it. All right, I got more work to do. I got to finish leveling out those walls so that way they can hang the drywall. My buddy that I met from Lime Works is like, you should plaster it. Forget about putting drywall. I haven't gotten that good with plaster, and I don't have enough laugh for that. And these guys are literally rocking and rolling with that drywall. I'm okay with that being drywall. But one final note, and it's been a pain, a real pain. There's a clawfoot bathtub, and anybody who has lived here, you bathed in that bathtub. That bathtub is only about 4 feet 3 inches long. It's really deep. I got into it one time and literally could not get out because my knees bent up that tight. More than likely, nobody will probably ever take a bath in that bathtub. That bathtub has to be refinished. But it's important for me, and I ended up having to move the shower, and the inspector literally said, just get rid of it. You don't need it. Trash it. It was important enough to me to want to keep that bathtub that I literally had to redo the whole shower. And we're going to have to spend more money on the bathroom fixture for it. It's more money for the reglazing it and everything else. And of course, putting tile around it and all of those wonderful things. But it's important to me to make sure that that's part of this place, because that is part of its history. And anybody, this is what I can't wait. I can't wait till I have somebody who's actually lived here come through and see that bathtub. There you go, friends. That's why I'm doing this. I hope you are enjoying your Saturday. I am 9 hours into the day and 11,000 steps. Started at 6 a.m. this Saturday.